Hi, my name is Aaron Kamajaya. People call me Dr. K, and I want to personally welcome you to the Spring 2020 Microbiology 20 class at the Los Angeles Pierce College, and I'll be your instructor for our exciting journey for the next 16 weeks. Now, microbiology, in my opinion, is the coolest class on campus. However, it can be extremely dangerous if you are careless. And this is the reason why strict adherence to lab safety protocol is required. Also, as you may have heard, microbiology class is not the easiest class on campus. This is why in this very first video, I want to be extremely crystal clear to make sure you know exactly what you need to do to get certain grade. So let's check it out. On the screen, you now see the point breakdown of the class. The class will have a total of 1,100. 75% of total course points will come from the lecture component, whereas 25% of them will come from the lab component. As you can see on your screen, listed on the blue table are the points coming from lecture component, whereas listed on the orange table are points coming from the lab component. So let's look at one by one. As you can see from the table, some are formatted in bold. That is to indicate that these points may require a little more effort in your part to get a good grade on them, i.e. it's not an easy point. However, there are other points within the class that can be obtained, and they are, I will consider, relatively easy to get. So make sure you capitalize on those opportunities. Now, just like a standard science class anywhere, in order to get an A, you need to get 90% of a total course score. In this case, because our total course point is 1100, 90% of 1100 will be 990 points. This means in order to get an A, you need to get at least 990 points in the span of the entire semester. Now, and in order to get a B, you need to get at least 80% of the total course point. To pass with a C, you need to get 65% of the overall course grade. Okay, so and you can see from there I listed also for D and F, but you really don't want to aim for those, right? Let's dissect what each of these points is. Okay, so let's start from the lecture component, the one on the blue table. Okay, assignment here is essentially video assignment. Here basically I have about 50 minutes to an hour and a half video closed caption that you need to watch and answer several questions. The topic typically is related to the lecture topic, and it usually involves something that's a little more advanced or an interesting real-world application of what we learned in the classroom. So there will be about 11 video assignments for the entire course, and only the top 10 score will be collected, i.e. you get to drop one. Now, the second one is concept map. So I will talk a little bit more about this in the class. There will be 20 of them. Each of them only worth 2.5 points. It's a small point, but they add up. So if you turn them in on time every time, then they surely will help you to boost your score in the class. I have provided examples on Canvas. There is a document I believe I name it concept map sample or something like that. If you open it, it basically tells you what a concept map should be. Okay, the next one will be lecture quiz. So these are pop quizzes. Okay, so this will happen during the lecture time. Sometimes during the lecture, it can be at the beginning, it can be towards the end, or it can be right in the middle of the lecture. And this lecture quiz is open book, open note, open everything, but you have to work individually. Okay, so this is individual work, but you are allowed to open your book or any resources that you have. The idea here is basically I want to know whether you are taking a good notes and actually listen to the lecture. Okay, so all right, the next one will be in-class discussion. So in-class discussion is essentially a group discussion in the class where I am going to give you a very challenging problem, typically similar to what you will see on your lecture exam. The good thing here is you have the chance to discuss it with your classmate trying to solve this difficult problem. Okay, typically it requires critical thinking, but at the same time it gives you an insight of what you will see on your exam. Now, okay, so now of course, now we have exams, right? So what are the exams? There will be 4 exams throughout the semester, each worth 150 points, and they consist of 50% multiple choice and 50% written component. What are the written component? The written component can be as simple as fill in the blank, or it can be an essay. It's not the type of essay that you encounter in the English class. It's not like that, but it's more like I give you a problem and perhaps case study, and you have to solve it. It's pretty much similar to what you will see in your in-class discussion. Sometimes it can be multi-part question, that sort of a combination between fill in the blank and essay. So it's really interesting, so you will see. Okay, so now let's move on to the lab points. Let's see. We have lab report here, so that is related to the unknown lab report. So in this class, you will receive an unknown organism, and your mission, shall you choose to accept it, is to identify your unknown, to come up with the species name for your unknown, and then you will have a formal scientific literature, and it's worth 60 points. And I will discuss the detail on this lab report in terms of the format, the rule, what you need to include, and as well as I will provide some examples of an excellent lab reports. Okay, lab notebook. In this class, you are expected to keep a good laboratory notebook that document all of the experiment that you've done, results that you acquired from doing the experiment. And I will check the lab notebook periodically and assign scores. Guideline to keep a good lab notebook is posted on Canvas, and we will talk about it as well in the first day of the class. There are 2 types of lab quizzes in this class. One, what I call pre-lab quizzes. That's the easy one. In our table here, that's the last item on the orange table, pre-lab quizzes. These are easy quizzes, open book. They are available on Canvas, and they're always due before the lab, and typically it's due on Monday. However, you must make sure that you don't miss the deadline, because once you miss the deadline, you do not get to make up the quiz. Topics covered in the pre-lab quizzes are typically laboratory exercises that you will be doing in the lab of that week. Some of the useful resources that you may want to prepare before you start your quiz, they are your lab manual, as well as the laboratory handout that I provided to you on Canvas. Remember, these quizzes are open book, but they are timed. You only have 5 minutes to answer 5 multiple choice questions. So spend your time wisely, have all of your resources ready in front of you before you click start the quiz. Post-lab quiz, however, they are a little bit more difficult. They are not open book, they are not multiple choice. Instead, post-lab quizzes always take place in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the lab period, and therefore make sure try your best not to be late, because once you're late, you will have less time to work on your quiz. And unlike pre-lab quizzes, post-lab quizzes are not multiple choice. In fact, they're all written. This means they can be either fill in the blank or essay. So they are not an easy points. Last but not least, I have allocated 10 points for lab performance. Most students will get full credit on this so-called lab performance unless you constantly display improper behavior that can endanger yourself as well as others. In a way, if I have to excuse you from the lab for improper behavior, you can expect some point deduction from this end. Alright, I hope everything is clear, and if you have further question, don't hesitate to contact me via email, or you can just come to my office and talk to me in person. In the next video, I will show you how to take advantage of one of perhaps the most useful resource in this, a dynamic timeline.